So the last two entered, please introduce yourselves.
How's it going? I'm Blake Foster. Justin Stewart, the new Blue Ranger.
Sorry, not very ladylike to talk with gum. Hi, I'm Tracy Lynn Cruz, Ashley, the yellow Power Rangers from Power Rangers Turbo and Power Rangers in Space.
All right, so I'm going to start off with a few questions to get things going. Then you guys will line up over there and ask some questions. Please be polite. So my first one is my favorites I've asked so far. Who, after your last day of shooting, accidentally borrowed something from set that never made its way back? Go on.
Yeah, no, I was a kid on this show, so I think I was just like, I'm going to take this, and then they were going to be like, okay, what are they going to tell me? No, so I got my original suit, my original helmet, my original communicator and morpher, and gloves and boots. Yeah.
Does Banner know that?
Yeah, actually, I just saw Banner. He looks the same. He hasn't changed at all. He was like, you still have that helmet? I was like, yeah. He was like, see, I hooked you up.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, I have the original communicator. I was fortunate enough to be able to take that with me. So this is the original from when Power Rangers first started, 1994. Woo! And the communicator got blessed to me from Trini to, let's see, Karen Ashley, Nakia, and then I got to keep it since we were the end of the Zordon era.
All right.
Hi guys, and I'm the green guy. I'm black. Roger Velasco, aka Carlos Vallette. How are you guys doing today? I'm sorry I'm a little bit late, but I was saving the world. But I was not going to miss this, so.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here. Awesome.
All right. So next question is going to be, you guys filmed in some amazing locations. Who has a special memory of a place that you guys did some filming in?
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I'll never forget Death Valley. 125-degree weather or whatnot. I think I've told this story before. I think Selwyn almost murdered our second AD that day, that weekend.
I think we all almost murdered each other.
Chris. Yeah, it was so hot out there. I'll never forget. I mean, there's some pictures floating around of us with topless, and we're just hanging out in a honey wagon outside. It was because it was so hot. And I'll never forget, we were drinking so much water without going to the restroom. That's how hot it was. It was crazy, but I'll never forget that. Death Valley was insane for sure.
Yeah, it's brutal. I don't know if you guys have ever gone out there or if anyone's from the desert, but try wearing spandex on top of that, being in 120-degree weather, and then wearing Doc Marten boots and fighting.
So Selwyn and I, we were trying to stay cool, right? And we had a little 12-pack of Heinekens in the room.
I don't know what he's talking about.
And they were really cold. And then Chris was like, oh, I want one of those, our second AD. And he's like, I want one of those. So we handed him a beer. We were in the AC. He was outside working. So he dehydrated. They sent an ambulance in, picked him up, took him to the hospital. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever picked that location, I don't know who did that one.
Those were the days.
Is he still barefoot in 120 degrees?
Yeah, he's just always barefoot, yeah.
All right.
Eating his ice cream cones.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here is about the ADR process. For most of you, this was your first time, getting in a booth. Not all of you, obviously. But what was it like all of a sudden being told, stand in this booth and grunt for an hour? Anyone
Tracy's used to it. Just kidding, I'm joking. Okay. Well, what I will say, the guys in the ADR booth, they're really brilliant. And a lot of the lines that really stuck actually happened in the ADR booth. And a lot of times, we thought it was just for fun. We thought it was just like, yeah, I'll say that fine for like a comedy reel. But actually, some of those lines made it onto the show. And somebody tell me one of those lines. Can anybody name one of those lines that made it on the show? That
funny line.
I'm sick of this pepperoni mushroom. No.
How about this one? I got
salad?
it.
Salad.
I'm going to toss your salad.
So yeah, but anyway, that's where a lot of that stuff came from.
I cannot believe that made it on the show. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, these guys were amazing. The direction they gave us, the support they gave us, they were amazing in the ADR room for real. And we had a blast. These guys were awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun, to answer your question. It was fun.
All right. Anything about doing ADR?
Well, it wasn't my first go around. I didn't do a lot of grunting. I did a lot of laughing, like goofy laughing, but you know, obviously some great writing that was on that made the lines as funny as they were. So kudos to the writers.
Ducks.
Please.
That's another one.
All right.
Yeah, good
then.
job. They're over here, by the way. These guys.
Okay then, so
Make it
everyone,
happen.
let's start lining up here for some questions. Let's get you guys your burning questions for these cats and crew and amazing people who came out all the way out here. Oh my God, we're so happy to have them here.
Got it?
Yep, got it.
All right, sweet. What's good? So my question is to you, Selwyn.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is Corey.
Where are you from, Corey?
I'm from Seattle, Washington. So my question to you is, it's 2018 right now, and I believe for like the first time in a long time, we're seeing a celebration specifically of black actors in things like Black Panther, you know, and shows like that or movies like that. So my question to you is, you know, being how far the season was ago, and you being in a very unique position as being the first Black Red Power Ranger.
20 years ago when it wasn't really happening.
Oh yeah, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I was 5. So what sort of unique challenges did you face in that role, do you think?
I think first off, I felt like a lot of people coming on set wanted me to be like the person ahead of me, like do things exactly like he would have do it, deliver lines exactly like he would have did it. So the first thing was I just stuck to my gut and I made it my own. And then the second thing was I was really surprised that I didn't get a whole lot of extra press about that. I was a little disappointed in the community for not kind of introducing me to the community as, hey, look what we got. We got this new, you know, African-American leader, you know, that kids can look up to. There was really never that, and it was weird. So I've told this to a few people, but it took like the Black Nerd comedy. It took that little jingle for it to stick, for people to be like, oh, yeah, kind of in a way. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people picked up on it, but it just wasn't as big as I thought. But I mean, I think at this point, you know, it just took that little jingle for people to pick it up. So, you know, I think maybe if it wasn't for that, I could have got maybe missed, possibly, you know. But I'm very thankful and blessed to have the opportunity, and I'm really excited to see, you know, more Marvel comics and more diversity.
Yeah, and considering the fact that our next season of Power Rangers does have another Black Red Ranger, it seems like you were able to start a long legacy that continues on even to this day. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. How you going? Hello. All right, so I have a question. It's kind of personal. Where is Patricia? Does anybody still talk to her? Any particular reason why she never comes to these things? I'd love to see her just like once.
She's in Selwyn's room right now.
Oh, wow.
He's got her hostage.
Just kidding. But she's around. Last thing I heard, she's trying to be a firefighter. She's working on doing that. But I did hear she had a bad experience in public with I think she had a fan, or there was a incident that kind of stuck with her, and she hasn't been really wanting to come out and do these, unfortunately. But they've offered, you know, security detail and all this stuff to help her or help with it. But you know, we just hope eventually she will make it back out, you know, one of these days, because I know you guys want to see her. So, but she's doing well. She's just not doing these cons with us.
Okay.
Not yet.
I'm actually having lunch with her on Tuesday at 11:30 in the morning. Where? Yeah, we're having lunch. We're getting together with her, so I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to tell her that you guys are all asking for her and you all miss her, and we love Patty. She's here on Spirit, and she's a superhero as it is right now, saving fire. She's a firefighter.
Right.
That's pretty good, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then is that confirmed? Is that what she's doing? Is that confirmed?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, friend. Or you can morph like Blake and...
Yeah. Say it.
Can you do your morphs at the end?
Absolutely.
For sure.
We can do them now.
Great question.
Yeah, at the end.
All right, how you doing, guys? How you doing? So this question is for the writers of Turbo. So I was wondering, that finale of Turbo is one of my favorite finales throughout the whole series. You're chasing the space, and it was incredible how it led into the next season. So I was wondering, how did you guys come up with that story? When did you guys realize you wanted to do that story and, lead into space like that?
Round of applause to the writers.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I think at that point we knew that the next season was going to be in space, so that gave us the motivation to send them into space. Otherwise, we might not have had that particular storyline. But the actors were so great and invested in the adventure of the stories that it was kind of easy to write, because these guys, we just write the words and they bring it to life. So I'm glad you liked it. I thought it was in the days where we tried to make a segue into the next season. We didn't always do that, but in this case I thought it worked pretty well. But thank you.
Hi. My question's for the writers also. In the beginning of the season, it was kind of like hinted that Divatox and Demetria were sisters, but it was never really resolved. And I was wondering if you had something in mind as to how that would have played out.
I don't recall. Yeah, I think that was a change that we made during the season, not to bring that storyline to fruition that was kind of predictable, that they were going to be twins, played by the same actress. Good versus evil, and then there was a regime change during this season, so we shifted into Turbo and shifted the storyline a little bit.
Yeah, she said it.
No pun intended.
It worked out. I think it all worked out. We just went a different way, as they say in writing.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Hello. Thanks for coming, everybody. So I have one kind of fun question. So right now, since your season's based on cars, what would your character's car currently be right now?
Oh, that's a good question.
And I have a second question too for the writers. So if was there ever an idea or an idea tossed around that Justin would actually maybe go in space at all, or was that something that was never going to be ever a thing?
What Justin in space?
Well, the idea that Justin could go to space too. Was that an idea that was tossed around, or was it just concrete?
I want to know what happened there.
It's probably something we discussed. I don't know why we didn't decide, because I thought he would be fantastic in space. It was at the time where we were deciding whether to change the cast, keep some of the cast. It was. Each season was a series of decisions that we were saying, okay, what can we do to make it fresh, and what can we do to keep the fans that love this series? So we did the best we could, but I think that's a great idea. Maybe someday, Justin, keep your jetpack. Keep your jetpack ready.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Graham from Dallas. My question is, well, kind of just saying, y'all were the first season to have two new things, the first Red Ranger, the first Kid Ranger, and that was pretty cool. And I just want to say, Justin, you've been an inspiration to me as a kid, because I've always wanted to be a Ranger as a kid, and you are really probably a role model for a lot of the people in here when you're kids, thinking, hey, we can be a Ranger even if we're a kid.
Right. I think that's kind of why they did it too. On set, I never thought, I was doing an independent film at the time. I never thought I was going to be doing anything Power Ranger related growing up, doing auditions and stuff. And I didn't even audition for the part of Power Rangers. It was kind of made for me. So I think that's why they did do that, is to kind of give kids an inspiration, saying, hey, look, if this kid could be a Ranger, so could we. So, but I thank you for that.
And now he's inspiring your kid. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, that's the next generation Ranger.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Shuki basically said, you're a Ranger.
Yep. Thank you.
You, come here, you're a Ranger.
Hi. Hello, thank you for coming to Morphicon. It's great to meet you guys. The Turbo was my favorite season of Power Rangers, and I just thank you for being so awesome. And my question is, how different is it from working on a set to working out on location?
Who wants to answer it? I think we were always excited to go on location because we spent way too much time on set, And, you know, when you're in one place for too long, you end up getting in trouble because you're trying to find something to do. So at least on the location, we, you know, entertained ourselves by going out and getting beer and
12-pack of kid.
Yeah, Salmon's middle name's Trouble.
yeah, you weren't very far along. And neither was Chris. But yeah, I mean, that was my opinion. I think we always look forward to seeing what our next location shot was. I think the Batcave was really cool when we shot there. That was awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, during the Turbo season, we were spending 16 hours on set sometimes. Yeah. So just imagine that long of a period of time with these beautiful faces here. Like 16 hours, like, yeah, it gets a little crazy. So kind of like cabin fever, right? Yeah. So we had to get out. Yeah, so anytime we were on set, we loved it. It was great. Cool.
Thank you.
It's like a field trip.
Thank you.
Like SeaWorld?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm
Mark.
from
Hello, Mark.
Fairfield, California.
Nice.
I have a question for Blake.
Yeah.
Did they really let you drive any of the vehicles on set when you were a kid?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to somebody at the table this earlier. They didn't let me drive, but I let myself drive. Every time I got a chance to sit in the driver's seat, I was like, all right, I'm driving it. They actually had a golf cart on set, and I would drive the golf cart around as much as I could just because I would like to drive it at that age, you know? But I could never even touch the pedals of the truck that they had. I don't even know what kind of truck it was at the time. But no, I never got to drive it. I actually had to sit on someone's lap, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. I was like, are you my dad?
How'd you do it in the movie?
In the movie?
Yeah.
There was somebody sitting, driving the truck, and I was just like literally like sitting right next to him. So when the car door opened up, I just jumped out.
Oh, cool. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, thanks for coming. I'm gonna say Turbo's my all-time favorite season. That introduced me to the whole Power Rangers franchise. Here's a question for Selwyn.
Yes, sir.
Out of the three cars you've drove, like Red Lightning, Lightning Fire Tamer, and Lightning Cruiser, which one you prefer to drive?
I like Lightning Cruiser, for sure. For sure. One of my favorite episodes is actually Wheels of Fate, so I have a special connection with Lightning Cruiser.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, guys. So, not going to lie, Turbo's not my favorite season. Still good, though.
Thanks for being honest.
I think you're in the wrong panel.
You got...
Good answer.
You're the only Red Turbo Ranger to me, second.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And the third thing, can someone please wrap up the Phantom Ranger's identity?
It's a mystery.
You can ask the writers that.
That's why he's a fan.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. No, I think that's what we willingly said we're not going to reveal who it is, so everybody could either kind of think of who it was themselves, but we said let's just have him be a mystery in the legacy of the show. So that's the decision.
She's lying. We decided what it was going to be. It turns out the answer is he's...
All right, thanks, guys.
I want to thank every single one of you people for coming. Even you, Phantom Ranger. Blue Ranger represent. I have a question for every single one of you, but it's a sort of like a parallel thing, because my question is, if your stories could keep going on beyond you know where they ended as a spin-off, like what kind of storylines would they be? Like, for example, in the case of Justin, what would he and the two sentient vehicles be doing? And for the rest of you, like what would you, the Space Rangers, be doing?
I think Justin was always smarter as a kid. He was, you know, with the high school kids. So he would probably be like either some professor or some like mechanic working on the cars, or maybe a martial arts instructor. I don't know. I see him maybe supercharging the cars and they're still down here on, you know, on land. I don't know.
Has Justin grown up, or is he still?
Oh no, Justin's definitely grown up.
Another question for the writers. I'm curious if you ever had any other plans for the Robot Rangers, and if you ever thought of bringing them back, or
if maybe Blake leaving in Turbo like kind of made you think you didn't want to use him for that when you brought him back for the one episode in space. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just curious. Did you have any other plans for the Robot Rangers? Remember the Robot Rangers?
The Robot Rangers, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm Mark Litton. I wrote that episode.
Okay.
I would have loved to have brought them back again. I probably pitched it a couple of times, I'm sure. But we don't, we don't always get to tell the stories we want because just the nature of pitching. They choose the ones they like best. And once you've got the robots in, but they've done that one.
Okay.
So they move on. But I wouldn't mind seeing them again.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
They should write it themselves. I think they're so good, right? I mean, hey. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? You were my heroes growing up. Thank you all for being here. I have a question. Brent. I have a question for the cast and a question for the writers. For the cast, I was wondering if you guys could share your convention experiences, like what it was like, if you were aware of like the fandom when you were first invited to a convention. And for the writers, could you please share how you were approached with the cast change out and any of the dropped plot lines, like when Carlos and Ashley were first introduced, there was like a romance, like they were making comments, and I'd read online that Lieutenant Stone's niece, Jenny Hunter, was going to be a ranger, if that was true.
That's some deep cuts right there.
I can speak to some of that. When the Rangers transitioned, I was brought into a meeting to discuss it about how we were going to do it. So the episode that we wrote for that was called Lord Zed Waves, and that again was one of my episodes. And it was just, we wanted to be able to bring in new Rangers and have everybody feel like they'd to approve of the new Rangers rather than just dumping new Rangers in. So we brought them in as friends of the older Rangers, but the older Rangers were already at a peace conference.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant for the Turbo cast.
The Turbo cast.
That switch out. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Which Turbo cast?
Is that from me from Jason to me?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the turbo
it's
switch.
Very similar.
Okay.
To that, simply because you want an audience to feel like they know the people who are coming into the roles. So Jackie, take.
Yeah, and then the previous Rangers would kind of pass the mantle on to the newer Rangers, so we tried to segue in a natural story way, as best as we could. Yeah, passing the torch. So that was something that we did for a few seasons before we just did a clean slate every season. So it holds its own challenges because you just have to write a storyline. But like Mark said, it's to get the audience to root for these new actors and welcome them into the Power Rangers family.
I'll answer your question with respect to the conventions. We first attended in 2009 Anime Expo, and we freaked out. We're like, whoa, this is a whole new world. This is cool because it's great to portray a Power Ranger on TV and all that, but the extension of that is coming to these conventions and meeting you guys and hearing your story and how much you've been empowered and how much you've grown. So for us, at 2009 Anime Expo, that's where it all started. I said, wow, this is great. And then social media took it to a whole new level, and now we're here. So yeah, it's been an incredible experience attending these conventions, and it's because of you guys. So we're really, really grateful for you guys. Life happens. We're extremely busy outside of what we're doing right now, but like I'm going to speak for myself. And my daughter's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16. I could be with my daughter, right? And thank you. Yeah, she's my baby girl. I love her to death. And she, I explained to her, hey, I got to be there, and she understands. So there's, we can be in other places, but this is very important for us to be here with you guys.
Can I ask a quick question for the writers, actually? To piggyback what you were saying. Actually, I was wondering, why do you switch out the cast so often?
Toy Factory.
Is there a bottom line to it? Because they're smart.
Is that what Heim wanted? Is that?
I'll tell you on camera.
Ultimately, it's to freshen each season. So it's like writing a book. You close a chapter of that book, and then you get a whole new palette and characters to write. I would say that this is one of the best casts that we ever had. And they're like really fantastic cast. It's always sad to say goodbye to the actors. And it's always sad because it's like high school. It's like, oh, goodbye, I'm not going to see you again. But we're all together again.
Yeah.
We're all part of the Ranger family. But ultimately, they made that decision so we could keep telling the stories. And that's why it's on 25 years, in my opinion, because we made that choice. It's a tough choice and one that was not made lightly, but that's why.
Can I actually piggyback off of his question? I'm sorry, you guys. I just have a question.
We don't get to see the writers that often.
No, we don't.
We're kept in cages, that's why.
How difficult was it to write the old Turbo out and write us in? How was that transition for you guys?
Tricky, yeah, quite tricky to do it. I mean, there's a lot that factors into it, but we try and make it as seamless as possible. But it's not easy because it's hard for us to say goodbye to the characters that we created and the actors that brought them to life. So it's kind of sad, but it's kind of exciting because
bittersweet.
You get to, exactly, bittersweet.
Yeah.
And then also, once they were gone and off the set and the new cast is shooting, they have to come back for 6 or 8 weeks to come work with me in the studio, and not really their happiest times because they've gotten booted off the show or transitioned, and the new guys are there and enjoying it, and these guys are going, well, yeah, okay, I'll do my lines.
Yeah, so the grunting came naturally.
Especially Tracy, she's not happy.
Hi, my name is Bruni. I have a question for the writers. My question is, why did you transform Bulk and Skull into monkeys in the beginning of the season of Turbo?
Where's Narvi? That was a production decision. I think that Jason Narvi and Paul Schreier had previous commitments. I think Paul was a theater actor. Yeah, Paul was a theater actor. They were going to do a spin-off that was in contention too. So I don't know whose idea. It might have been Chaim's idea. It was someone's idea. And it was not our idea. It was not our idea, is what we're saying. Yeah. But it was a weird idea, and again, challenges for writers and actors and stuff. But I remember going down to set and seeing those chimpanzees on set. I felt so bad, but
Vulcan Skull or real chimpanzees?
Yeah. There were some funny episodes, but it was weird. It was weird. Production issues, and I think the actors had to do previous commitments is the real answer, but.
On the other end of that, Jason and Paul both were really good as monkeys in the studio.
And they weren't monkeying around.
They loved it, and they ruined the studio every time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edward. Thank you all for being here. We've talked about it a little bit in the past couple of questions, but mostly for the actors, what was your experience in being part of that transition, being on set with the older Rangers and getting transitioned to the new story?
Who wants to take it?
I'll start. It was cool, actually. I think the one that was probably happiest to go actually was Jason, and he's one I kind of shared. Actually, we shared a trailer together, but he was happy to go, but I don't think it was the same story for all the other Rangers.
Yeah. And for us, a little nerve-wracking. We had big shoes to fill. These guys were dominating the Power Ranger world, and it was a phenomenon at the time. So for us, it was like, oh, here we go. We gotta do this right and do a good job.
Yeah, I think it was difficult because we weren't sure how everyone was going to perceive it, especially in the middle of the season. So they already had that relationship, that had been built between the fans and the characters. So when we came in, it was just like, oh boy, just like Roger said, we've got to do this right. So it was a little intimidating.
Yeah. For me, I think it was more or less just like happy to still be on the show. Right?
Yeah.
Because I was a kid and I relate to you guys so much because I was such a huge fan of Mighty Morphin growing up, getting off in the school bus with my sister, running home to watch Mighty Morphin and play with my toys, and then actually working on set with them, filming the movie Turbo with Jason Frank and stuff. So when I found out that we were getting a new cast, I was like more or less just happy, and I was like, cool, I can't wait to meet these guys and see what they're like. So I got to work with 2 different casts of Power Rangers, so that was pretty awesome.
And he can't get rid of us now, so.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey guys, great to see you here. Well, can you pick a favorite season, Turbo vs. Space, or any like favorite episodes?
You want to take it, Roger?
Just what was it like transitioning between the two and either?
Well, I mean, Turbo's great. I love Turbo, but you know, Space was ours. You know, we had our own mega ship and our own sets, and all that was so exciting. Yeah, so it was for me Space, I would say, because it was us. You know, we didn't share it with a different cast. Although Turbo was incredible, I love Turbo, of course. But yeah, for me, I would say Space. What do you guys think?
I don't think I even left set. I think like we did Turbo, and then like the next day I was like, oh, I'm doing 1 episode of Space. Yeah. Right?
Well,
Did they run it? Did they run it?
We had that hiatus when, you know, when they knocked out the command center, and then we had that long hiatus.
Yeah, but
I just nodded yes. I don't remember.
For the episode of Space, I didn't film in the command center. It was like outside stuff. So I think that we filmed that consecutively, right back to back, and then I was done.
And the command center was sweet.
They did an amazing
Oh
job.
my gosh,
It
we
was
were on
freaking
hiatus
awesome.
for like 12 weeks or something, and then we came back and it was like, oh, this whole new set. It was amazing.
Well, I kind of like Turbo, honestly. I mean, I get they poured a lot of money into Space, and it had a storyline that was completely different. So I do. So they're kind of 2 different things, but I really like Turbo because it was kind of raw and gritty. It's like old school kung fu movies versus, you know, the more clean, nice movies. So it's almost going from like kind of a beat up car to a really nice car. So I kind of like the beat up car a little bit because it was our first car.
Sure.
But then, you know, so it's kind of more like that to me.
Turbo was goofy sometimes too.
Huh?
Turbo had the goofy episodes sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the vampire, Carlos the vampire. Yeah.
That's it.
Ah,
Baked into the pizza.
Awesome.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
What about switching colors?
Who are you?
What? My name is Brendan, and I'm from Hollywood. So a lot of people don't necessarily recognize that this cast and this creative group saved the franchise going from the second half of Turbo and then into Space. You can clap, everybody clap for that. So my question, and I think it's a question that a lot of people have asked me personally when being around Roger or whoever, is was there a moment when the writers, the actors, anybody in the creative started to realize that the second cast of Turbo and Into Space was starting to gain steam and gain popularity to the point where they're like, wait, this is still happening and this is still big and then even bigger than the seasons before?
Who wants to take that?
You, Roger. It's your buddy.
Who's that? Honestly, I was like in a Power Ranger black hole. And all I did, I was just so focused, tunnel vision, and just shooting the episodes and working. I didn't even really know that the ratings were going through the roof. They wouldn't tell us that stuff. So we were just working, honestly. And later, after the fact, we realized, oh, wow, that's what we created. We did a dent in the universe, wow, with this series. But we did it together because you guys watched the show. So, like she says, we're all one team. So, yeah, I was just tunnel vision shooting. I didn't even know what was going on until after the fact.
Right. Yeah. Just to piggyback, it's very delayed. You know, like they just revealed us for the Ninja Steel, but I would say we shot that a year ago. Like it's really delayed, so we really don't know until it hits. So you know, all we really knew is that they were putting a lot of money into production. We knew that, and that was about it.
Yeah, I agree. We're so, it's like we were living under a rock. You know, I think Saban knows how to keep us very humble because we never know if we're going to have a job or not. So after Turbo, it was like, what's going on? And then during Space, you get the Psycho Rangers, and we're like, okay, what is going on? So I think we all were just very humble, and we knew how to enjoy the moment because there was going to come a time, we didn't know when, but we all just braced for it and said, all right, we still have a job today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I think everything from Turbo the movie through the series with the first cast and second cast, everything was tunnel vision for me. Mm-hmm. Everything.
I was just living the dream. I was like, I'm working with Rangers. Yes.
Yeah, it could be just Saban's strategy. You know, him just thinking, you know, we're disposable.
No wonder Jonathan would show up on set super happy and excited all the time. Now we know why. The ratings were going through the roof.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I had a question about the monster suits that you were talking about. Do you have any kind of funny stories about, because, you know, I mean, just watching that, you think, wow, you know, you got to, like, if you have any kind of self-awareness, you're going to be like, this is amazing some days, and, oh my God, this costume is awful other days, like if it's really heavy or something.
Yeah, well, you know, the costumes were already used
Yeah.
from Japan, so we got them sweaty and smelly and
That must have been
torn
very
up,
fun,
and,
yeah.
you know, we had the glue gun out and we had to do repairs, so that was the funniest part, just getting them together. And then they were hot. They were very hot.
I'll never forget, though, my favorite thing was when I first went to the soundstage in Valencia, California, and you walk in the doors, behind you, up on the like there was a shelf, and they had like all the cool,
that was
different
awesome.
bad guys. And I was just, I would sit there and stare at all of them upstairs. I was like, I want to try to touch them. They're like, I couldn't get up there, but I thought that was pretty cool.
All right. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Leo. I wanted to ask, how much percentage was you guys actually fighting in the suits, and how much was it just Japanese footage or stunt guys, or did you guys actually fight in your like in your original costumes?
Yeah, I did it all the time.
Zero. Yeah, very little in the suits.
Okay.
Very little. We usually, I mean, the normal formula was we'd fight a bit, start getting beat up, and then we morph.
All right.
I mean, typically, the answer is any time that you would see us in the helmets, that's not us.
Okay, so like 99% of the time or 100% of the time?
100%. No,
90%.
Yeah, that was 100. Yeah. I don't think I could have hair and makeup and still look, you know, decent and perform after that.
And half the reason too is, well, you know, we're not. Well, if we got hurt, it'd be hard to explain.
Well,
you know.
Patty did. Remember?
She twisted her knee.
Well, I mean, she had surgery on her knee, and Vasquez rocks. So yeah, so we used to beg to the producers to let us fight. We wanted to fight. We always wanted to get down, but there was reasons why they would not allow us to, because production stops, someone gets hurt, they lose a lot of money, and then that's not fun. So I know Tracy broke her arm doing a role, and she had to shoot with a cast on. Patty wanted to do some stuff. We were always, you know, let me fight. I want to fight. Yeah. And then Vasquez rocks. She hurt her knee. She had to get surgery in her knee. So, yeah, they know what they're doing. That's why they prevented us from doing a lot of fighting sequences and stuff. But when you did see us fighting, that's because we bagged a lot.
That was us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my name is TJ.
TJ.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah. I mainly just want to ask, was it like working with the props of Power Ranger? So you could compare it to like the other acting gigs you may have had, like, you know, in Blake in the movie, you had the Morphic key, you dropped it. I mean, like, you know, normally you would use normal keys. If you lose a turbo key, it's a different thing.
Right.
But was it like working with the props?
I thought all the props were actually really cool. Banner did a really good job designing most of the props.
Banner's awesome.
And Mark. Yeah, they did a really good job, and I used to just be fascinated with what they would come up with out of nothing, out of a cardboard box. They would create some cool stuff. So I'd be in there watching them create the stuff all the time.
Well, whenever we had them, it was like we're under watch.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
they're right next to us.
It's like we got $1 million diamonds on, because as soon as they say cut, they come take it from us right away, and they can't touch the ground, can't get dirty.
They wouldn't let us take off our communicator. They'd be right there. Banner'd be right there. That's okay. It's not like I don't have hair to spare here. Yeah, they would take off our communicators. They didn't want us to touch it. So he had to put it on, and he had to take it off. After, yeah.
So they don't go missing too. That was half of it.
Yeah.
They'd learned from previous cast members. I'm not going to name any names.
Blake.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Robert from Van Nuys. I have a question for the writers. How come when the new Rangers were introduced, we didn't have like a concrete story about them like being integrated into Angel Grove? Like that's something that I really, really was uncomfortable about.
Well, Roger and I had a story when we got introduced. You were soccer and I was a cheerleader. That's how they introduced us. I don't know.
Me and Patty were on a bus together, but I don't know if that...
Is that what you meant with the transition? Yeah.
That's funny. I was on a bus too.
I think that was probably a decision made from how much screen time you are afforded to introduce characters. So unfortunately, we have to say, Roger plays soccer and Tracy's a cheerleader. So we introduce them with very broad strokes, and then we deepen their characters throughout the season, and the actors bring their own spark of life to the characters. And it probably could have been done with a little bit more finesse and deepening, but these introductory episodes, you have very little time because you have to have the action too. So a lot of what you're not seeing is what was cut for time. So there was an amazing story with all these guys, but it was cut for time. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's the later version.
Hello again. Celine, I'd like to ask, what was it like coming back for the 20th? Selwyn, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
What was it like coming back for the 20th anniversary?
20th or the 25th? Which one? Which one? You see what he did there?
Oh.
Like that. Which one?
I'd say the 20th for now.
20th. It was. Let's see. I was very surprised actually to get that call because it had been a while. So I was very surprised but very happy to go back because now they shoot in New Zealand. So if you get the call, that means you're going to spend some time in New Zealand, which is really, really awesome. So yeah, I think at the time I was just really surprised but happy to be back and happy to be a part of it. I mean, as you may have already heard, not everybody gets the chance. So they contact a lot of Rangers, but not everybody gets to go. So I was just very happy to be able to go.
Did you shoot that with Patty?
Yeah, Patty was there.
Well, thank
you.
Thank you.
Hello. I have a question about the diversity in casting. Obviously now there's a lot of social pressure and social media pressure to have diversity in casting, and rightfully so. But back then it wasn't that, pressing. And so I'm curious, whose kind of idea was that? Where did that come from? And what was the process like?
Good question.
I think it was Chaim's idea. And it was very natural. It was something that just became a staple in Power Rangers every year. We never thought not to have a diverse cast. We started off with it. There wasn't a question going forward that we were going to, I mean, someone said, what if the Red Ranger was black? And we were like, totally, let's get a great guy. And it was not a big thing. And I'm very proud of the show's decision to just have that representation when not a lot of shows had it back then.
I think Saban might have been, Saban might have been at Taco Tuesday and say, hey, we need a Mexican on the show.
Well, actually, I can say from the very first season with the MMPR thing, and all of a sudden we're shooting and the show's on the air and someone's going, well, how come you have the black guy being the Black Ranger and the Asian guy? And we all went, oh, shit.
That's true.
That's right. Oh, I didn't think about that. Well, first, the original Yellow Ranger wasn't Asian. She got changed out. But so I think at that point in time, we were all aware of it, but it wasn't like a conscious thought, but it became, after that point in time, that wasn't going to happen again. Right? And
I know when I came on, everyone was like, white girl is yellow.
White girl was pink, and but it was all silly. But we just didn't care. We just wanted to try and get the best people, and the object wasn't to have one of every color and race. It was to have the best people, and if it worked out that way to get those colors, great.
Yeah.
And as
you guys did a good job.
As a note, at 5 o'clock, casting director Iris Hampton will be here in this room for a panel about the casting of Power Rangers. So.
Nice. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
All right. Let's give one last round of applause to our TurboCast.
Thank you, guys. Come check us out.